Well, to start off with, mate, there is so much going on in the world of the band at the moment, so congratulations on everything that's been going on. How are you feeling at the moment?
Oh, great, man. I mean, literally, we are just a day away from, dropping this song that everybody's been waiting for. We've been waiting for years,
So tell
exciting moment. So the whole tour were announced. So we have the American tour, we have the European tour, and now we have this deluxe edition dropping on the 5th. So yeah, busy days, man.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about this brand new track. Tell us a little bit about This Is the Way and how this track came into being.
So it's been actually years in the work. Like our musical taste is pretty eclectic. We listen to all kind of stuff. So it's not just heavy metal. It's not just hard rock. And I guess that's always shown. Five Finger Punch always had this slow. The pure true metal heads would point it out like, well, these guys are not metal, or they don't look metal, or I think that's due to the fact that we are actually more of a hard rock or in between on the cusp, and definitely we have different influences that come into the picture. So like for example, I generally start writing songs on hip hop beats to begin with. I like the swing of them, and I like that they're different, so that's kind of inspired to me. So that's how I generally start writing the songs, and later on we instrument it and change it to the rock drums, and that's kind of how it works for me. So anyway, so DMX was an artist that was both Ivan and I were a fan of, and we all thought like, man, he is kind of like the metalhead of hip hop, right? It's like his delivery, his the dog bark, the whole thing, that he's all up into this kind of metal. And so we had this conversation how cool it would be to work with for DMX, that would be that would be like one of the bucket list items.
Yeah.
And so this conversation started about 5-6 years ago, and eventually it got to the point where it could be possible, because either he wasn't available or we were on tour. So there's a lot of moving elements. And when it became a reality, like we could possibly do this, then unfortunately DMX passed. So the master is gone, and so that was a moment of like, what do we do now? How do we do this regardless and with the most respect, and possibly, still do this? And so we were talking to his team, and then we got some master recordings from them that some of them was on a mixtape before, some of them never heard. There were tapes that nobody ever heard before, and we got this master, and his team allowed us to work on it. And that's how we put the song together. And then it was going to be on this record, but when the record came out, but we didn't have all the ducks in a row. All the publishers had to sign up, all that stuff. And that's why we're doing this deluxe edition now, because this is what the record was meant to be. This record was supposed to be on it. This song was supposed to be on it, and originally released it.
Yeah. So a lot of your fans out there are probably interested in the answer to this question, but when you do have an artist that you want to work with, like DMX, how do you start that process? Like, do you let your management contact their management, or do you start contacting friends that know them? How do you start that process when there's an artist that you want to work with so badly?
So obviously there are various ways. Sometimes you know somebody, you know the artist himself, or themselves, and so generally, if you don't know the artist, then you have to have our people talking to your people kind of thing,
Yeah.
So we ask the management. In this case, we ask the management like, hey, can you reach out? Can you see if you have somebody common, somebody we know, or just reach out to their lawyers, managers, whoever, so we can make the connection, right? So generally, that's how that happens. And then sometimes it's friends of friends, there's the various ways. This particular thing, we reached out to our management, to theirs, and to his people, and started that conversation, which was basically years in the making, as I said.
Do you feel pressure as an artist when you're working on a collaboration like this, because you are bringing somebody, as you said, someone who's an absolute legend of his craft into the fold to work on the track? Do you feel more pressure when you're working on a collaboration?
Definitely there is more sensitivity to, you have to be very conscious of the artist you're working with and what they, like as it kind of, it has to match. It has to be something that you both agree to. So I don't think that it's a pressure from the perspective of, it's not an outside pressure. If there is pressure, it's a pressure that you really want to do well. You really want to do good, and now there's another artist that's outside of your writing circle that's involved, right? And then you want to create something that they would approve of, what they like, right? So there may be a pressure, if there is pressure, is something that the artist puts themselves on. Now, with this particular track, when it was done, obviously, as I said, we had to get the approvals from every single person that was involved with X. So the feedback was already amazing, because we had to have, his team and publishers and everybody approve this. So we were getting the feedback that was extremely positive. Everybody went like, man, this is a hit song. This is something that's appropriate. It's something that upholds his legacy. So people were very happy and impressed by this track. So that was already good news. And then once we had a date when it's actually going to come out, we showed it to a bunch of legends of hip hop, basically. So from Jurassic 5 to Jurassic Park. So from Jurassic 5 to Run DMC, Daryl from Run DMC, Shandog, all these guys listened to the track, and that was amazing, because this is their world, right? It was amazing to see that they were impressed and they approved, and they thought, like, I think Daryl said, like, man, this is a game changer. This track is something else, and this is more than just a track. This is a snapshot of how X lived his life and how the similarities between him and Ivan, and both had their struggles, right? So he thought that this is deep, and it's not me saying this is coming from Daryl from Run DMC. So getting that feedback is amazing. It makes you feel good. Like, okay, we did good, right? I mean, obviously, from my perspective, I love what we did. I love the song. The guitar solo is insane on it, and every aspect of the song I absolutely love. But getting that extra, that extra thumbs up from the outside, especially from the legends, it feels good. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you that.
Definitely. Now, you mentioned as well the deluxe version of Afterlife. There's 3 amazing acoustic tracks that have been added to this album. Tell us a little bit about what it was like going back and working on these tracks acoustically.
So, fairly easy, to tell you the truth, because a lot of these songs actually start with acoustic guitars, because it's just the convenience of, you grab an acoustic guitar, you have an idea, you grab an acoustic guitars, and immediately, or if you're a piano player, you can jump on the piano and just play. So, when inspiration strikes, it's easy to reach for those instruments, because they're acoustic and immediately the sound is there. You don't have to turn on anything. You don't want to have that get into the way of your idea, the time of setup, even turning on amps and finding the sound, right? Yeah. So many of these songs actually started with acoustic guitar, and actually some of them are, that's why, like, we remember the original versions of this, and it was sort of the idea of, like, hey man, that sounded pretty good acoustic too, so let's do a version of that, right? So it wasn't that difficult or a stretch. We're not doing something outside of the box. It was on, it was on that style. It was on the same string of thoughts, sort of. And but really proud of it, actually. Some of those acoustic songs, I'm not going to say I prefer the acoustic version, but almost, or kind of, or maybe, it's equal to me, that some of them performed acoustically picks up on a different vibe that I think is different from the original, and adds something else. So it's not completely a different song, but feels different, and I think it's really cool, and that's why they have the right to live, like, have a right to be on a record, because they bring something else to the table.
Definitely. Well, mate, I know we are running out of time very, very quickly, so I just had 2 very quick questions I wanted to ask you. First of all, you guys have worked with some amazing artists over the years, and now we can add DMX to that list. Are there any artists out there that you still really want to work with one day that you haven't worked with yet?
Yeah, I mean, the collaborations are really cool, because we did a couple of covers before, and even the story why we did covers and how that came about. we became a headlining band really quickly, and we didn't have enough material for the first record to do headlining sets. We have a 50-minute record, right? And so you have to play an hour and a half, so we had to play covers. And that's kind of how it came about. The fans were asking us, like, man, you guys should record Bad Company. And I didn't really want to, but so many requests came in, we did it, and look what happened. So we did a few of those, and we realized that actually it's fun, to do these covers and reimagine these songs. And then when Kenny Wayne Shepherd, who wrote Blue and Black, jumped on, then became a collaboration. And then Brantley Gilbert and Brian May jumped in. I mean, that was so cool. And I think we want to do more of that. Right, so the future, I want to do more. As for who could be, what artist, I mean, we have a long list. There would be so many voices, so many cool artists. If we talk about hip-hop, then, I mean, Wu-Tang Clan would be awesome. Run DMC, if you could do something with those guys, that would be awesome. There's an artist in England that I really like. His name is Tricky. He produced a lot of songs that we all know, we just don't know he produced it, and he's an artist himself, very avant-garde kind of hip-hop, trip-hop. I love his art. That would be really cool, So there's Eminem would be awesome. I mean, like that guy's incredible what he can do. So there's so many that it's more of a, we are open to all these things, and it's more of a, will the synchronicity exist? Will it come to life? Will somehow the universe, somehow in this world, run across each other and it become a thing, right? I really wanted to work with Prodigy at one point. Prodigy is one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, same thing, same thing. We have an artist that we lost there, but I love their stuff. So, and Ivan has a lot of favorites that he would like. So this is a long answer to your short question. Like, I hope that yes, there will be more of these collaborations.
Awesome. And just one quick last question. We're about to play the brand new track right now on our show. What would you like to say to everybody out there before they take a listen to this amazing track and go out and grab the deluxe edition of Afterlife?
Well, if you want to come at any of the shows, obviously we have a whole tour, whole year actually, Europe, then America, and hopefully next year we can extend into the Asia and Australia. We'll see how that pans out, but let's hope. And we're really pushing it. We always wanted to build a giant show, and that's always the path of making it bigger and bigger, so it's an experience. So it's something that you have to be there. So if you have a chance, come out. This is going to be the biggest show we ever built, and we already had a pretty, a pretty good sized stage show, but this is actually bigger than it was before. And as for the song, I mean, open minds, guys. I love this song. I love the guitar solo is insane in it, and I think we got this right. I think it's the right combination of things. How these two world clashes, and even the video, I like how heavy metal, hard rock was sort of the tool of the rebellion, and so was hip hop, and that's why I find them parallel. And I think this song is a really good representation when those two worlds meet.